big Who's Number One coming up. You have February 25th, three athletes. Oliver Taz on the undercard versus Jonas Gracie, but then two title matches in the main event and co-main event. Pedro Marinho against your student ADCC champ Giancarlo Bodoni in the co-main, and obviously the big one, Gordon versus Felipe Pena, number 4 in the main event. First off, Gordon versus Felipe, what are you thinking about it right now, about a week out?
It's, as I said earlier, a fascinating match. These guys know each other very, very well. They've spent so much time on the mat together that they know each other's game. There probably won't be that much technical difference between the two, given that the matches were fairly close together. There hasn't been a lot of time since the last match. Other than ADCC, they haven't really been that active since then. So it's mostly going to be, if there's going to be a difference between the matches, it's going to come down to tactics. Do any of them bring in a set of tactics which is different from the previous one? It's unclear whether that's going to be the case. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a tough first 15 minutes, and I think you'll start to see which way the match will go based on the first 15 minutes. And the question is, are they going to go for pacing themselves, or are they going to try and exhaust the other guy in that first 10 minutes and gain an advantage? So it should be fascinating.
So Giancarlo coming off an amazing performance at ADCC, dominant at 88 kilograms. Now he's going for the 205-pound bout here. What are you expecting about this Giancarlo versus Pedro match?
Oh, Giancarlo is trained brilliantly, I have to say. He looks phenomenal in the gym. He's had some injuries after ADCC, but looks to be well recovered now. And he's matched up against a guy that, again, we know very well. Pedro Marinho, of course, has fought against Gordon on several notable occasions, so he's an athlete that we have studied a lot and know a lot about. He's a very, very accomplished athlete who seems to have gone through a real renaissance in the last 2 years, where his career was always good, but now it's shot up to a new level. And he's the established champion. Giancarlo's got to come to him and try to carry that same form that he showed at ADCC and bring it to WNO.
Last question. Is it difficult for you as a coach? Obviously, like for instance, ADCC, you're coaching everybody to compete in the same rule set. Right now, you're coaching Giancarlo and Gordon for big matches at the same date, but very different rules. One has a 15-minute time limit, one has no time limit. Like, how do you juggle that as a coach?
I try to have days where there is some overlap between the two rule sets, but there's also some differences too. So what I'll do is I'll structure it so that there's 1 or 2 days which favor one rule set, and then they get replaced over time, so that you get this pattern over several months where athletes get exposed to the rigors of both rule sets. And I usually find that there's something about one rule set which will have carryover into another and improve the performance in some way in another area. So for example, working for no time limit gives athletes tremendous endurance and patience. It makes them tactically very aware. But working in a shorter time limit gives them that ability to create burst speed where they can fatigue an opponent in a 5-minute time frame and gain advantage from that.
All right, thank you, John. Everybody watch Who's Number One, February 25th.